What is Europe? We live in Europe. We are European. But what makes us European?
Europe is not a country. As a region, it doesn't even have definite borders. In fact, its borders with Asia are blurry at best.
Now we're left with 4 simple questions. What makes someone European? What ties Europeans together? How strong is this tie? And is it important?
We went into Dublin City to ask people their opinions.
American.
Ireland.
From Italy.
Northern Ireland.
I'm from Ireland.
US.
I'm from Denmark.
Ireland, from Cork.
My heritage, primarily Irish, a bit Scottish, and French Canadian.
Indeed.
I do, but I consider myself more Irish than European.
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
Irish.
Yes.
No, Irish.
Do you consider yourself European?
Yes, I do.
You're part of the EU?
Geographically, we are just an island off of Europe, and if we look at our history, we've been utterly and totally integrated with Europe down through the ages.
When you go to another country, it's not very different from Italy.
I think the fact that we have a shared heritage and culture and history. Some of our history has been a bit different. We didn't have a Reformation, we didn't have an Industrial Revolution. But I think our interests are aligned in Europe.
Well, the fact that I'm in the continent of Europe, but I also subscribe to the values of the European Union.
Celts, before that, to Vikings, to Normans, to English, and of course the indigenous population. So we are very, very definitely European.
Against, yeah. I am for.
I think it very much depends on what the nature of that union is. If it's an economic union, fine. If it's a political union, I think we need to look at that very carefully. I think we need to ensure that our traditional policy in terms of foreign policy is respected in that regard.
Perhaps, yeah.
Yeah, and I think for Northern Ireland it'd probably stronger focus on agriculture, and there wouldn't be as many ties with the agriculture sector. Northern Ireland is quite dependent on the agriculture sector at the moment.
Against. Because I think we're losing jobs and too much immigration.
I think we need to cooperate, but we also need to respect the individualities of each country of the Union.
100 years ago, many Irishmen fought and died in Flanders, many of them in my family. And I lived there in Belgium for 11 years, so I suppose I'm a bit unusual. I like Europe.
Because I think Europe was much more one entity for a lot longer than it has been nation states. Nation states are only about 600 years old. Europe as an entity was much older than that.
I am definitely for closer unity because I think with projects like this, if they are not becoming more integrated, they tend to disintegrate.
If it makes sense.
Well, we've had a lot of reciprocal fucking moments. We've helped them out, fed them. They've built our roads, so this goes back to '73 with the EEC, so we had no choice then.
Any country to the European Union is a good idea.
I would be very much in favour of political and social union.
Well, as a country, if it's not providing you benefits, or to the global whole, and it's a detriment to you, it's a personal choice or a country choice.
This closer unity should be attempted, if you like, rather slowly rather than quickly.
Indeed, I think it's a very good thing for Ireland, a very good thing for our young people.
Yeah, definitely.
And I do appreciate us being in the European Union for the currency, for the economics, for the jobs that it's created, and easy travelling between country to country.
Very definitely. There are also, of course, some costs belonging to being part of a larger unit, but the benefits far outweigh the costs, in my opinion.
Some have, some maybe not.
Certainly not. I think it's too much money going out of our country to help the EU, and we're losing out.
Yes, I do.
Yes, most definitely.
Whilst joining the EU back in the EEC, as it was, in 1972, our standards of living were basically less than two-thirds of the average EU, and now they've reached higher than average standards of living at present.
Some maybe take advantage of the EU or can't perform equally.
Yes.
We have the possibilities for trade among the countries, but it's also a value for us that we are able to go and work in any of the other European countries that we like to.
Some of the cost might be is that we have to adhere to certain sort of EU regulations and laws.
Financially, but also culturally and socially. No, but I think the EU has created a particular European identity that is distinct to the people in the Union.
No, I don't. I think that's a big question that's going to be debated this year with Brexit. I think there are different ways of being European. I don't think the Swiss would see themselves as not being European.
No, we don't have to be in the EU to be European, but it's to me it's part of being a European.
No.
No, absolutely not.
The EU, of course, is, in my opinion, one of the greatest achievements of actually mankind. If you look back through recorded history, it's the first time 27 nations have come together, 28 nations actually have come together and created a single market and partially a single currency without one individual losing their lives. It is definitely and will more in time increase the living standards of all members, even the newer members. There's always a problem with transition as new members come in, but we can overcome those in time.
There's the question. By default they'll be, but will they be recognised by the rest of us? Probably not. And they're so far east, we're so far west.
Maybe not so much Russia. Never thought of that.
As far as the Urals only, I think Russia is... I studied Russian and there are 15 different languages in Russia, lots of different time zones if you look at the entire country. But from Poland to the Urals, I think it's very much part of Europe and has been. The rest I'm not so sure about.
Well, geographically, yes. But culturally, no. Most definitely not actually.
There is a big debate concerning where Asia begins and Europe ends, and this is particularly in the case of Russia, for example. Ukraine now and Turkey perhaps all provide sort of certain questions on what is European and what is the unifying force within it.
Worried about the Brexit, you know.
Do you feel it will harm Ireland?
I think so, yeah.
A lot of British people don't feel themselves European even now. I mean, I think Britain is still trying to get its head around the fact it's not an empire and that it is a small island on the periphery and not the centre of the world.
We will be affected economically, politically and socially by a Brexit.
I think for Ireland, separate from Northern Ireland, I think it might benefit it if Ireland stays part of the European Union and Northern Ireland breaks away. I think and Britain breaks away, that will reduce trade links with the European Union. Therefore, Ireland's our nearest trading partner, so therefore it probably will help Ireland.
In 1912, there was a famous headline on an evening newspaper in London: "The Channel fog-bound yet again, continent isolated." And that says everything.
It might mean that we may need a passport to enter England. And I say England because there's a possibility that Scotland, for example, may in time choose to, if England decide to leave, may decide to apply, first of all, I suppose, for independence and then to join the EU.
It's pretty much two fingers to Europe, isn't it, you know?